Is Sunderland the best loan move for Jayden Danns? We'll get into that shortly, but it does look like the Black Cats of a team that have managed to get the deal over the line for the Liverpool Academy striker, 19 years old, with a whole host of teams interested. Top to the bottom of the Championship, Hull City, Stoke, Blackburn, Plymouth have all taken a look at Danns, and it's Sunderland who have managed to get the deal over the line. Just to preface the video, I'm by no means an expert on this, but I do watch the Academy week in, week out. I'll try to give them the best informed opinion I can, and I am of the opinion that Sunderland could be a shrewd move for Danns. Small background on the player: Jayden Danns, 19 years old, centre forward. He is the son of professional footballer Neil Danns. He's been at the Academy since the age of 8, and he broke into the Liverpool first team last season, making his debut. He currently sits on 3 goals in 9 games. Now, that does span a total minute accumulation of about 193 minutes. And he's been on an extremely hot goal trail since the beginning of last season, starting with the under-18s. I think when it comes to Jayden Danns, it's important to give context to his Liverpool career so far. I think it really highlights his mental fortitude and how well he's done. He came into the Liverpool under-18 side as a first-year scholar, and it might be surprising to some given how highly rated he is now, but he didn't get too much of a kick in his first year. He was competing with the likes of Ben Doak, Trent Doherty, Lewis Kumas for a spot, and Danns himself had grown massively over the past year, and he was really getting used to his body, and you could see it in the way that he played. He suffered with a little bit of injury as well here and there. So his first year as a scholar in the under-18s in the professional environment, off the back of coming into the under-18 really highly rated, he'd just been with the England under-16 squad. It wasn't smooth sailing for Danns, but I think what came after that, it just goes to show how willing he is to put in the work, because when he came back, he was a completely different player for his second year. And we saw this nippy, skillful winger go from potent, out-and-out centre-forward, and it's been magnificent since. He was quickly promoted to the under-21 team from the under-18s, and soon enough he was playing for the Liverpool first team. I think getting into what he can bring to the Sunderland team, starting off with a mental side of the game, he's shown that he can come back from a setback and that he's going to work as hard as he needs to be to get where he needs to be. And I have no doubt that that's going to be the same at Sunderland. If he's not initially in the team, he'll bide his time, he'll work on the training ground. And secondly, in terms of the mental aspect, every challenge he's been put up in front of so far, he has an unwavering air of confidence that it really makes you believe in him. When he speaks in post-match interviews and doing media, you can tell that this is natural for him. He's never too overawed by the achievements he's already made. He's always wanting to do more and continue to prove himself. It's almost as though this is second nature and it's what he expects. I don't think there's any worry that Danns won't be able to cope with the physicality of a championship in terms of his ability to ride contact and hold players off. He's more than happy to have a player on his back, even in the men's game. We've seen his ability to ride contact is really good, and we can just look at him physically in how he has physically developed. He's really tall but stocky at the same time. He's got really, really long arms, which he uses to good effect, and he is somewhat of a unit. I think the challenge for Danns is being able to keep up with the intensity of a football over the course of 90 minutes at a high level. We saw him not in the game too much on his first Champions League start against PSV. So, while literally, physically, he can hold off these players and deal with the pressure, I think the challenge comes with the intensity. So in terms of his play style itself, he's a striker who likes to play deep, who can play with his back to goal, bring other people into play, and even more out wide in tight spaces. He's comfortable with his footwork, and the comparisons come with Harry Kane, and obviously he's not as good as Harry Kane by any stretch of imagination at the moment, but the style is similar, and I can see that. It does make him somewhat of a good foil. I think he can play with another striker up top. In this case, it would be Wilson Isidore. He's started a lot of games for Sunderland this season, and you don't expect that to change anytime soon. But he's very well rounded. He's got a good bit of variation to his game. He can run in behind. He is somewhat of a fox in the box. He's just a natural goal scorer. He's just got it. But we can see by his goals, some are tap-ins, some are the chips dink against Southampton. The confidence to be able to take on that shot just says a lot about his ability and how much he backs himself. No, it's not a cut and dry situation. It's not saying Jayden Danns is going to be guaranteed success, but he's a very good squad option for Sunderland without the pressure of ever being the main man in a promotion charge. We could see it, but Sunderland are desperate for points and they're unwilling to trust a young player, which we have seen before, which